Hey, everybody. I think I've said hey to everybody except for I seen Crime come in. Hello. Freedom Flag. Thank you for coming. And Swifty. Thank you for coming. And Junebug. Okay. So we are going to discuss the case of Chloe Everett and Christopher Gage Daniel tonight. And I want you all to make a warm welcome to the Watcher. And hey, David Clark, lots of love. Anon. And Dee Berlin, hello. So I'm going to read something really short, and then the Watcher wants to speak up. And if somebody comes in while I'm reading, you guys please make them welcome. Thank you. Okay, so the details of the disappearance. Chloe disappeared with her half-brother, Christopher Gage Daniel. They lived with their grandparents, Leon, and they called Leon Bubba, McLaren and Molly McLaren in the 700 block of Kingman Road in Unionville, Tennessee. Photos of the McLarens are posted with this case summary. The children were last seen at home at 6:30 p.m. on September 23, 2012. At 9:30 p.m., the house caught fire and burned to the ground, killing the children's grandparents. Authorities thoroughly searched the wreckage but couldn't find any sign of the children or their remains. The remains of the McLarens' pet dog and bird were found in the rubble. Keep that in mind. The pet dog, which was a poodle and a cockatoo parrot, were found in the rubble, but there was no indication of the children's whereabouts. Investigators are still unsure as to what caused the fire, but the county sheriff said he thought the blaze was accidental. The McLarens had over 30 propane tanks in the basement, and the fire officials found evidence that the tanks had ruptured. Although there was no sign of an explosion, authorities believed at first that the two children had died in the fire, but forensic anthropologists who examined the scene have found no evidence of that. The circumstances of their disappearance are unclear. So this happened September 23rd, 2012. And there was an Amber Alert activated, and it's still active. And let me go through again. I missed some people. Hey, Marissa, sweetheart. Lake Michigan. Sharon Parker. Taff. Loie. I hope I haven't missed anybody else. I'm going through there. If I have, just holler out again. Thank you all for coming. And now, please welcome Watcher, because she's got some interesting things to say. Okay, Watcher.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Well, this case is kind of personal to me, mainly because it's from Tennessee. Go Big Orange, just saying. But it is kind of personal to me. I remember when it happened, and I just happened to go back through the other day. I was thinking about it and wondered if there'd been any updates on the case. And so I went back through and seen that absolutely nothing has happened on this case at all. It's been 9 years of an active Amber Alert, and there's been nothing on this case. And it's important to note why the kids were living with their grandparents, and that was because the mom was going through some struggles with addiction, and so she thought they would be safer living with the grandparents, and so she sent them to live there. And then this happens, and so the mom has pretty much not forgiven herself all these years. There is some discussion back and forth as to whether the kids were in the fire and just burnt up to ashes. And there's actually a couple of family members who do believe that, but most of the family believe that they were not in there and that someone killed the grandparents and abducted the children. And the main reason they believe that is because the grandparents were found side by side. Yet this happened at a time when they would have been in bed and they had separate bedrooms. They did not sleep in the same room. And then also because the pet dog and the bird was found and they were able to be identified. And if there had been 2 kids in there, they would have been able to be identified. And I wanted to say a little bit about the doctor. His name is Dr. Tabor, Mike Tabor, and he is the chief odontologist in the state of Tennessee. And he was trained, I don't know if you all know Jefferson Bass, the top forensic anthropologist at the state of Tennessee, done the body farm, not owned it, but, run the body farm for all those years. He's an author. So he trained this odontologist at the state of Tennessee. And Dr. Tabor said that there is absolutely no way these children were in that house because they would have found bone. And if they didn't find bone, they would have found teeth. So there was absolutely no way they were in that fire. He is convinced. And I mean, this guy identified bodies on 9/11. He also identified James Earl Ray as the shooter of Martin Luther King. And so he's worked many high-profile cases, and he is very knowledgeable. And he said there's absolutely no way. And the other one that worked on it is Dr. Berryman, and he was the chief anthropologist at MTSU. So both of them are in agreement that those children were not in that house. And
Sorry, I was muted. I was talking. Hey, Amber. Nice to see you. Yes, I was trying to talk. I was getting a little video ready that I thought we could show too, of the mother. But so I might have missed this. I'm sorry if I did. But did you mention also that the mother or the grandmother and the grandfather slept in separate rooms? They did not sleep together. And something really peculiar is that they were found together, but in the basement.
And they speculate that the reason that happened is that the fire was so hot that the top floor collapsed down onto the basement. I don't know how I subscribe to that, but that's what they say. So.
Yeah. The daughter does not believe that. And the daughter says that the basement door was, Ellie said the door was open, and that caught her attention right away because it was a routine for Bubba, which is the grandfather, to always double check every night before he'd go to bed to lock that door. But yes.
And they said that was another reason that the fire burned so hot was because that door was left open, of course, providing oxygen source to the fire. But I looked up today, I wanted to see what like the temperature of a crematorium was, and they said that the typical temperature of a crematorium is 1,800 degrees, and they estimated that this fire was no hotter than 1,000 to 1,100 degrees. So therefore, and they said even in a crematorium, you will have bone fragments left, and they did sift the ashes. So if there had been bone fragments, they would have found bone fragments.
Right. I mean, they found a dog and a bird.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and of course, the first they look to is the family, but Ellie is positive it wasn't the mother, and the mother is still, searching and looking. And
it's important to note too that they had been seen. I mean, you and I discussed that today, that they were seen like at 6:30 that evening playing in the yard. And best I can find out, it was from a neighbor, which this was a very rural area, very country. There wasn't a lot. I even looked it up on the map, and still to this day, there's not a lot of houses in that area. It's like just a 2-lane country road, just not a lot of people. But reportedly, a neighbor did see them playing in the yard at 6:30 that night.
yes, Anon wants to know how old they were at the time. Uh, Chloe was 9 and Gage was 7. Anon.
And Gage also had special needs. He had dandy, is it dandy proxy syndrome?
Yes. Yes. It's yeah. It's very heartbreaking. I mean, I'm sure we could speculate on many ways of what happened, but I mean, I would like to play a little video for you guys. It's 3 minutes long, and it's where the mother speaks. So if you all don't mind, I'm going to do that. Let me share my screen. I should have just already had this ready to go while Watcher was talking. I'm sorry. And let me make sure my volume is up loud. I don't want to hit the wrong button.
Hey, Maurice, I treasure what I have.
You can't put a value on little pictures from Mom, Cheryl
It's
Dan.
not very loud, is it?
A few are especially close to her heart, like this one of her mom and stepdad, Molly and Bubba McLaren. And of course, these school pictures of her children, Chloe Leverett and Gage Daniel.
That's country, just little country kids.
Those are pictures taken while Chloe and Gage were living with their grandparents, the McLarens, here in Unionville.
I love it. I love living down there. It's peaceful, quiet, just country folk, just really good people.
And in this place that always felt so safe to Cheryl came the night of September 23rd, 2012. By the next day, the news coverage was happening. A huge fire burned the McLaren's Kingdom Road home to the ground, with sheriff's officials at first believing Bubba, Molly, Chloe, and Gage were all inside.
I kept telling my family, they're not dead. I feel them. I can feel my babies. I could feel in my heart, my soul, that they were alive. I didn't feel them gone.
Then came word from investigators. Remains were found in the house of Bubba and Molly, a dog and a pet bird, but not Chloe and Gage.
That's when they put the Amber Alerts out. Honestly, I believe that someone went in and killed my parents because I know they had to kill them before they got Chloe and Gage because I know they would have died trying to save them.
With the Amber Alert, Cheryl thought she'd have her children soon, but as she sits here now, it's been 2,922 days since that night. The case of the fire and her parents' deaths unsolved. Her children still missing.
The longer it gets, the more heartbreaking it is. People say time heals. It doesn't heal. It pacifies, but it doesn't heal.
Today, the mom who treasures pictures so much has 2 new ones. Age progression pictures just released by TBI of Chloe at 17 and Gage at 15.
Age progressive are like my school pictures now. You know, it's heartbreaking because I'm having to look at missing children pictures.
For Cheryl, it doesn't matter how many more days it takes. She says she waits for when a true new picture can be taken here in this place she loves with Chloe and Gage.
I just pray for one day that I'll have them, that they'll come home.
I'm sorry, guys. That was not very loud, was it? I had it all the way up, but that video itself wasn't loud. So I'm sorry if you could not hear that. It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
And one thing we haven't mentioned about Molly is that she had cancer, and she was also on oxygen and morphine, which the morphine part could have actually played into this, but she was on oxygen, and just like the propane tanks, you know, I sent you that video earlier of what one propane tank does when it catches fire. It explodes, let alone 38. I mean, if there had been, they ruptured, but they said there's no evidence that they exploded. So a lot of people had said that's why the fire was so hot. It's because the oxygen exploded and the propane exploded. But the fire investigators said that did not happen.
Yeah, they did. They said that. It's these kind of cases, though, I think we need to keep attention on. Nobody hears about or sees. They may, these kids could be anywhere. And somebody might happen to see, and say, oh my goodness, because they don't know. They may think they belong to these people that have had them all these years and see something now and say, oh wow, Watcher is the one who brought this to me and said, hey, I think we need to do this case. Now,
Well,
I read just a little something when she first sent it to me, and I thought, okay, living with their grandparents, a fire set, probably the parents. My first gut or my first thought, grandparents had custody. That's what I thought at first. Now I'm not sure what I think of who, but I know what I think of why. Watcher, the dad. Anon wants to know about the dad. I think I know. I remember them mentioning, but he's not a suspect, right?
no, he's not a suspect. He was interviewed on one of the videos. He was interviewed, but he's also one of the ones that kind of feels like they were actually inside. Even though he says, I don't understand why there's no bones found, I think he still leans toward the fact that they were inside. Just from the interview, what I gathered from the interview. And somebody asked, I can't remember now who asked it, about if the bodies were too badly burned to tell a cause of death. And yes, they were. They said they could not even tell if they were dead before the fire started or not.
Yes, that would be interesting. I mean, that's too bad. That's too bad that they can't, because Marissa may not have been here because you pretty much, we wanted to get that out of the way in the beginning. She's asking, do we know why they were living with the grandparents and not the bio parents?
Yes, she was having struggles with drug addiction. And so she thought they would be safer, which she did the right thing. I totally agree with what she did the right thing because she thought that they would be safe in that house, and she gave them custody of them, so they were their legal guardians.
Yes, I agree.
And I just wonder they have not. They One thing I wondered about is they have not mentioned like it- I don't want to say other family members, but other family members. They have not mentioned, have they talked to other family members? Have they considered other family members? Did they have family members from another state, neighbors? They have not gave any information at all about who they have interviewed or not interviewed. And even though this is a small country town, it's 1 hour south of Nashville. So, I mean, they could, if somebody had taken them, they could have been out of the area. I mean, they could have been on the interstate and gone. They could have been in Kentucky. They could have been in Indy. They could have been just anywhere in no time because they were right there. So,
Yeah, all I remember is I watched an interview. It was a female police officer, and she had said that she had spoken with the mom, and she's not a suspect, but they were interviewing family members, and that's the last I had heard or seen about anything regarding family members. They had not said any more in anything I had read. So
I
you're right.
wondered the same. I wondered the same thing, Lutz, and that's why I said morphine might have played into it because anybody that knew that family knew that the grandmother was on morphine for cancer. So that could have been a part of it, but I don't understand, unless it's somebody that knew them, why they would take the kids, unless it was, and back then, trafficking didn't really seem to be an issue, or we just didn't know as much about it. But that was my first thought is, did they traffic these kids? But I don't know how I feel about that. I don't.
Right. I'm sure it was an issue. It's just not that well. We just didn't know that much about it or think it happened as much as you know. Um, so uh, that kind of answered Lutz's question. Were they in any trouble? Read drugs. Could it have been a retaliation, a target attack? AJ has a question. Is there any info about any other people who may have been involved in the kids' life who had wanted them removed from their grandparents? Have Ellie
Ooh,
checked for local child perpetrators or offenders? Please.
good question.
Yeah.
That's a real good question. But I mean, like I said, they haven't specified if they have looked into any of that, unless you've seen something I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, not that I had seen or heard or read. I mean, there wasn't a whole, that's what's hard about these cold cases or cases that don't have much attention. There's not much info out there. Like I'm getting ready to do one on Monday. I don't do cases on Monday usually, and I'm going to have a guest on with me, and it's a
And it's
very
not
heartbreaking.
me. It's
Yeah,
not me this time.
it's not Watcher. It's going to be heartbreaking because there's absolutely nothing, no attention, and it's heart wrenching, but it's also uh, it makes you want to say bad things because it really runs the anger through you. Um, so Anna says this Chloe and Daniel case also resembles Solder case in that a door was left open, which probably increased the power of the fire. Interesting. Oh, that's sweet, love. Angie and Watch
And,
are the best ladies, but have to also throw in Incog and Mel too. The awesome foursome. Yeah, that's
We should all do a show together.
Anon says. Yeah. Anon says 9 and 7 are not small kids. I find it hard to believe they found no bones. That tells me they were not inside. Exactly, Anon. Exactly. I
That's
mean, they
exactly
find a
it.
bird, they find a parrot, and they find a poodle, but they don't find the kids. I mean, it's just baffling. Let's see.
And just like the Sauter kids, I mean, it's like she was saying about the Sauter kids. These are not young children. These are not 2 and 3-year-old children. These are kids who knew who they were and who they belonged, who their family was, who they belonged to. I mean, to me, it would take someone who knew them or had a presence with them that could convince them, their family didn't want them, or I mean, I just don't know where you would go with that to keep 2 children, especially now that they're 17 and 15, quiet.
Right.
And I mean, he would have to have doctor visits. He was probably on some sort of medication. He was special needs. So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's scary too, you know. I mean, I was thinking about that when I was watching one of the videos I linked. And if you guys haven't had a chance to watch either of the unsolved, they're called Unsolved Mysteries, but I don't know if they're part of the actual, like a branch off of the Unsolved Mysteries that we've known about for years, but they're both very good. The mom speaks in those. Now I forgot my main point. But those are very, very good. Oh yeah, I was just saying that, when I heard that about the little boy and his special needs, I just thought, oh my goodness, who knows who he's with, if he's getting the right care and everything. It's just heartbreaking. So Anna says remains would also depend upon locations of various victims, including pets.
they actually, Anna, they touched on that. They said that the propane tanks were underneath the children's bed, directly underneath the children's bedroom, sorry, where they would have been asleep at. So, you know, but they said that that didn't affect the temperature of the fire also. So, because they ruptured and not explode. Now, if they had exploded, I could see that, but you know, that's what the fire investigators stated.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hello, Bullets for Dinner. Thank you for coming and thank you for subbing. And yes, that's the correct. Watcher answered your question. Good. And yeah, I agree. I just don't think I don't think they were there. I mean, professionals say that, and I mean, I just can't be convinced. Nobody can
I
convince me they were there. I mean,
no, some of them even said they were never there. They were not there at all. Period. I
no.
mean, what if somebody took them when they were out in the yard playing, and then came back and killed? I don't know. It just leaves me stumped.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they were seen in the yard. I think it was about what it was 6:30, right?
6:30. Yeah.
Yeah. Sad. So the best that we can hope for and pray for is that they are still alive somewhere and they will be seen, or they'll realize. I mean, I think they're old enough. They were old enough. She was to know, and hopefully will want to go home to her mama someday, and they'll find a way to get there.
Well, the only way I think it's possible if that they are still around is that they're in another country. That's the only way I've thought and thought and thought, but that's just the only way. I don't know what you guys think, but that's the only way I could see it ever working out. I mean, I know it's Tennessee, but still.
Yeah. Sharon says, why would grandparents go to bed with kids not in? I don't think that. I don't know what happened, Sharon, or how it played out. I think we could go through many scenarios, but I don't think that's the way it happened. I just don't. It could have happened in the middle of the night. They got the kids out first, came back, did whatever, however. Like Watcher said, they could have taken the kids from the yard and then I don't know, but I don't think the grandparents would have done that. I
Well,
think if the kids were already missing, they would have called the police.
they
Maybe
could
they were
have.
held hostage during that time. We just don't know.
They could have killed them, took the kids, and then came back and set the house on fire.
Yes.
They could have done that.
Yeah. Let's see. AJ says, I would like to see a diagram of the house and where the grandparents or pets were found in the house fire remnants. Strange that the grandparents were found together when they slept apart, in my opinion. Yes. And the daughter feels the same exact way, AJ. I don't think we have that to show, though. I don't think we had. I don't think that's available, is it, Watcher?
I have not seen the.
Me
I could even find the exact address on the
map.
Google Earth map. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, AJ. But the daughter feels the exact same way you do, AJ. Ban says, could the fire have been to destroy evidence? Possible. Yeah. I see what you're saying, Band. I very well could have been. Annie. You're too cute. Let's see. Anna says, the little girl was awfully pretty. I wonder if a creep took note. Possible. Loie says, if the grandmother had cancer, is it possible they gave kids to someone they thought would care for them and then committed suicide? Something like that happened here. Well, the sister spoke too in the Unsolved Mysteries. She seemed to have she seemed to have everything together. It would seem like there'd be other relatives that they could do.
True.
That they could have given the children to.
They also said that she, and I've seen this a lot when I worked in home health care, that people on oxygen, they're not supposed to smoke, but they do. And I've seen one woman that was completely, like her whole face and everything was burned up. And they said that she smoked in bed all the time, and she was on that oxygen. But to me, if that was the cause of the fire, there again, there would have been an explosion.
And the kids should be there.
Exactly.
Anna says maybe one grandparent went to wake up the other and was overcome by the fire. Thus, they were found together. In the basement, though. They were found together in the basement. So, I don't know. Marissa says, Annie, it's like one of those old school newspaper things where you start with your eyes closed to the photo and slowly move it away from your face to see the hidden picture. Yep, that's about right, Marissa. Oh, you're so welcome, AJ.
Lexi.
I'm sorry. See, I just don't even notice it till somebody says something.
That's so funny. Lakey, it was like a country 2-lane road, very, very rural. Very rural. I mean, not many houses at all, even today. Hey, Otto.
There is automobile. Have they said where about the fire started? Did it start in the basement? No. Right? Because if it would have, it would have exploded by the propane tanks. Am I right, Watcher, or do I have that wrong?
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. They haven't specified because I don't think they can actually tell. But yes, the propane tanks would have exploded. And AJ, I don't think if they have looked into the trafficking angle, they have not told that. And, I don't know. I mean, like we said, I'm sure it was happening back in 2012, just not as well known as it is today, or well publicized as it is today. But I don't know if they've looked into that angle or not because they have not said. I think they should.
Oh, I do too, definitely. And I mean, back then they may not have, but I think even back then, we may not have thought something like that, but I think Ellie should have. Did grandparents have life insurance? Who gained to collect? Yes. Yes, they did. Because I remember watching, hold on, I'll tell you. Kirsty Skye. She said that they did have life insurance, and it was to go to the grandchildren. It was changed a month. I'm pretty sure she said it was changed 1 month before this happened, but who would have known that, and who can, cash in on that now? Like
I
they'd have
missed that.
in order to do that, they would have to. I mean, I don't even know if they can, but if they could, they'd have to totally be out of the country, if it's even possible. That was a good question, Anon, because I would have totally spaced it out if you had not asked. Thank you very much. Anna says, arson investigators are frequently undertrained and incompetent. In my opinion, there have been some terrible miscarriages of justice. Well, I'm not going to go into that right now, but I think depends on if they want to be honest or not. We might go into that in another case that I've covered a couple times. What comment, Otto? Did I miss your comment, buddy? I'm sorry. Let me see. YouTube, do the 5 skid marks on my heart. Otto, you confuse me. You might have to explain it a little better. Is that the comment you're talking about? Because that's the only one I saw when you first came in. Well, hey, Chaotic Beauty. I didn't see you come in, girl. Thank you for coming. And by the way, can I announce it? I mean, it is posted. Human trafficking was definitely happening in 2012. It's been happening for years, just not talked about. Amen. Right on. Darn right. Well, hello, sweet Anna. How are you? AJ says it's strange that the grandparents were found in the basement when the daughter was adamant that Bubba locked the basement door every night before bed. This could be important in the timeline. I know, AJ. I think it very much is.
So, like, maybe they never got to bedtime because he never got to check the door because it wasn't that time for him to check the door yet. It happened before bed. I see what she's saying. Good point.
Yeah. Anon says whoever knew life insurance was changed, suspect number one. Yeah, yes. And again, thank you so much for asking that question, Anon, because I think that's a, huge, I totally spaced it. And I mean, so yeah, like Kirsty said in her video, which I do have linked, who would have known that? So
I wonder, and I haven't heard this said, and like I missed the insurance things too, so maybe you've heard it. Did it say if the mom was dating anyone or was it involved with anyone at the time? Did you hear that?
I did not. I'm going to silence my phone while I'm on here. So before I get to the next comment, Miss Chaotic Beauty, Amy, is going to be on Monday with Graz at 7 p.m. I will be at Bible study, so I'm devastated. So I'll have to watch the replay, but everybody make sure and tune in on that. It's going to be a good one. I will probably be able to pop in and, give a little presence, but so yeah, it's going to be a good one. So Anna says, where I'm from, fire departments tend to be political, plus incompetence by arson investigators seems to have led to execution of an innocent man in another state. Well, I mean, yeah, if they're dishonest, they can be, but I don't want to say all of them are. For instance, just real quick, because I don't want to get off topic of this case, or for instance, in the Flora fire, the current or the fire chief at the time said there was no arson, it was accidental. Then ISP, which by the way was always investigating, they were always the investigating agency. Carroll County was not. So ISP had another fire marshal come in, and they ruled it arson. So that's what I was trying to say. Not all of them are, if they're dishonest, yes. But then you'll have one come in, or some,
Well,
So
and the
we
thing
have
about
good, we have good and bad. We have good and bad in every profession, in that, in LE, and doctors, nurses, teachers. It's awful, but that's how it goes. But I don't want to get off topic of this case because that's what we're discussing tonight. So, and I'm behind on comments now, probably.
Well, and
So,
the thing about it is, I can see that, but this case had boots on the ground from the top forensic anthropologist in the state of Tennessee and the chief odontologist in the state of Tennessee. It wasn't just regular run of the mill arson investigators out there.
yeah, they had more than one, and they had many, and like you said, the top. And hey there, Ivy Rose and my wombat. Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Ivy, I hope you're feeling better. So yeah, I mean, it's just heartbreaking though, you know. And then, I'm sure the mom feels tremendous guilt because of her issues, and she left them with the grandparents because, she knew what was going on in her life. So she put them in a better environment and with people that she knew would love them and take care of them and provide for them better. So she's probably thinking to herself, if I had my stuff together and if I was the mom I should have been and they were with me, maybe this would, who knows? But I'm just, as a mom, imagining what she could be going through. But we don't know who or why, so it may not have mattered where they were, right? But then again, was it because of that life insurance policy? We don't know. Oh, that's right. Happy birthday, Ivy Rose. She's still a youngin' though. Oh, AJ has a request. Okay, let me jump up here. Are you able to put or pin up the aged progressed photos on Chloe and Gage? I just sent them to you on Messenger in case you didn't have them. Well, hold on a minute. They are on my, well, you can't see it right now because I'm live, but okay. Gotta share again. I can't pin them right now because I'm already live, AJ. But yes, that's what they would look like now. Can you guys see that? Wait a minute. She's beautiful and he's handsome. I'll tell you where I can do it, though. I can post those in my group. So could you guys see that? Those pictures? Let me get down here to the bottom. Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you, AJ. Now let me see if I missed, because I thought Anon had something to say too that I missed. There it is. If grandparents change life insurance to grandkids, if grandkids go missing or declared dead, I wonder whose life insurance went to. Grandparents, kids. Good question. I don't know, Anon. That's a good question. Yes, I think she did the right thing too, but I bet she's just carrying a lot of guilt. I mean, I'm just imagining. Oh, don't worry about typos. We do it. I do it all the time. There might be, Marissa. You're welcome, AJ. Yeah, there is probably a reason, Anon. Would there be a transition period between when the new life insurance would be valid? Maybe that's why it happened so soon after the change of policy. That's a good question. I don't know. Do you know, Watcher?
I do not. That's a good question.
See, I don't either. I think it takes effect, right? I know my mom changed her. See, I think if like he already had his policy, and if it was just his will, I think that's what it was his will, without going back and watching, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me. But if he just changed his will, it takes effect immediately. I mean, all you do is just change it, get it notarized, or by a lawyer. Doesn't even have to be done by a lawyer, just a notary. At least here, where I live in Indiana, that's all it takes. It's effective right then and there. AJ says, I believe the children had two different fathers. Has the other father spoken out at all? Does anyone know? Yeah, I was wondering that too because the names were different, but
Yeah, the first Chloe's dad died when she was a baby, so the only father that there is Gage's dad.
yeah. And I don't think he's speaking out per se. Like, he's not doing what the mom's doing, no. $30 and on in your state, even for wills. Wow. Boy, that's something that could really. Yeah. Me too, Marissa. Hello, Ed. Yeah, that would be nice to know, Loie. I don't know how we could find out, though. Hi, Ronnie. It's okay. Well, it could be very suspicious, I guess, if somebody would die within 30 days, or which in this case,
I'm going to look that up for the state of Tennessee when we get off and
Oh,
see what I can find out.
Okay. That's okay, Wom. I hope you're doing okay, honey. Oh, I must have missed that. Wom, you've been ill? I'll be praying about that, buddy. Right, Anon. I mean, you could go down so many. So many. I just know it's very, very heartbreaking. And, you know, like I said, this was Watcher's baby. She's the one that found it, brought it to me, said, we need to do this. And here we are. And I don't know about Watcher, but there's quite a few more that we can do that she's sent to me and that we've been talking about. Need a lot of attention. Sad.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, that is true.
It's very sad. Lake says, I worry about the boy, the girl as well, but him having Dandy Walker syndrome, he may need medical care. Exactly, Lake, exactly. I mean, that was what really, like I said, when I was watching and when I heard that just, I was like, oh my goodness. I just hope wherever he is, whoever he's with, you know, and I do hope they're alive. I hope they're alive, but I hope they are safe, being well taken care of.
AJ, I went into Namath to look for them today. At first, I couldn't find them in Namath at all. I did find them on the Charlie Project, but I couldn't find them on Namath. But I was told by someone who's an advocate with the Charlie Project that in order to be on the Charlie Project, because I'm trying to get someone put on there right now, actually, that's never been put on there in 9 years, that they have to have DNA before they will list them on the Charlie Project. So they do have to go through 23andMe or an Ancestry or one of those to be able to be listed on the Charlie Project. So that tells me that they have to have DNA available.
Okay, hold on a minute. Somebody just asked what Dandy Walker syndrome is. I'm going to put it in the chat because it's a lot. Surprised it went through all that. I saw somebody else. Okay, there's a non. 7 and 9-year-olds can't take possession of the life insurance money. They would need some type of guardian or trustee. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Anon. You're so welcome, Wom. You're so welcome. You know we love you. Marissa says it's so sad how many cases there are that are not getting the attention they need. Yes. Yep. Amy says this is so true. And I know that Amy cares very, very much about cases that get no attention. She has a heart for that. Lake says malformation of the brain many times can cause fluid on the brain. And yep, you're right, Lake. Taff, I just put the definition of it in the chat. It's right below Wom's comment that says true anon. Oh, maybe I didn't get it. Oh, yeah, it's in two. It came through 2 separate comments. Wow. I guess because I'm the host, it let me do that. It's right above now, Taffy, after you said, what is Dandy Walker, hun? You're welcome. Yes, love. He was.
So that, being that he had that severe of a syndrome,
You're welcome, Amy. Sorry,
that
watcher.
sorry, that kind of takes me away from thinking that he's in another country just because of the medical care that he would require.
And the life insurance. I mean, could somebody get by with fumbling around with that in another country? Because I don't think they could here in the States. Possibly. Anon says, I want to know who that person is. Who would be responsible for both kids if grandparents passed? They are my suspect. Mine too. I mean, it had to say in the will. It had to say the kids are to go too. But did they expect to live long enough for the kids to be? But they also had to consider the fact that, they may not live long enough either. So it had to have said in there somewhere, they had to have said, this is who I want. See, we're not privy to that information probably.
Yeah, Anna, if that was the case, if it was human traffickers, I don't see him being the target. I mean, I hate to be so blunt, but that's just how I see it. I don't see him as being the target of a trafficker. So you're right about that.
Sharon says parents are wards of the state. Chloe's and Gage's parents are. Oh, yes, that would be awesome, sweet Anna. Love says, man, that makes me wonder if maybe the grandparents were struggling with him and maybe a murder-suicide possibly, and the kids are buried elsewhere. Sorry, just speculating on theories. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. Sorry, Lutz. Yeah, they would have known. I mean, what do you think, Watcher? Hi, Alberta.
I don't
About
know. It's one of those cases where you go back and forth.
murder suicide.
I don't think murder suicide. I really don't. Just because of how the family talks about the grandparents. You know, her sister was on there. You know, of course, Gage and Chloe's mom. I mean, I've been wrong before though.
Yeah. I mean, anything is possible always, but with him changing that will a month before to the kids, and then to kill the kids and then kill himself and his, I don't see that a possibility. I mean, I don't see that being the case, that anything is possible. So hello, Alberta. Alberta says, I bet their age, they must have set guardians for the children who would have had access to the life insurance thing. Yes, that's what I thought too. Because a just in case, you have to, I think. I mean, because there's always a chance that something can happen, especially at, like you said, their age, the grandparents' age.
Good question, AJ. Real good question.
Did I miss another question of AJ's? Or is it down there? I'm probably not down there to it yet. Yes, that's true, Lake. They sure do. Well, hello, Mel. Thank you for being here, darling. Oh, crime. You know what I want to say to that? You northerners sent the cold weather to Florida. It is chilly. I want to say, I don't feel sorry for you. Amy says, any aunts or uncles? See, that's what I was saying. You know, there's would surely be some other relatives, you know, because somebody else earlier mentioned that they were struggling and maybe they just gave them to somebody or. Okay, so I've got to get down here because evidently there's a question from AJ and I haven't seen it yet. There it is. I read that they brought in cadaver dogs, yes, at the fire scene. No hits. So I'm wondering if they brought in sniffer dogs also to track any scents moving away from the property. Well, it is a good question. I want to say I think they did. I can't say 100% sure, but I know they did extensive searches for a week long, wasn't it, Watcher?
Yes, and I don't know, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, that I think that's a good question because it is two different, totally different types of dogs. So it is curious, and I can't remember what they said about that because I've listened to so much stuff, my head is mush.
I know. That's what it's like. Yeah, you work on these and everything, and you try to, you know, and then the day of, at least for me, all day long, I call it prepping. I go over everything, and then my brain is like, yeah, grandparents were 70 and 72. If the parents had not given custody to grandparents, I'd think custody plus life insurance. Well, they had guardianship, which I'm just speaking in Indiana, that's just about as tight as custody. You give somebody guardianship of your kids, you better be sure that's what you want to do, because getting them back is going to be pretty doggone tough.
I remember what I was going to say now. They did do the searches because they thought when they first discovered they weren't in there, they thought that maybe they had ran out of the fire and got disoriented somewhere or got lost somewhere. So, that's when they started doing all the searches around the property.
Yep. Anon says, Anna, in my son's father's case, my son was a minor. He was left life insurance. It's still in probate. Been 5 years. His father was passed away on a motorcycle. There was a will and life insurance. Oh, goodness, Anon. Well, I just want to say that's not fair to your son at all. Not at all. That's not fair. I've been hearing about the Arctic blast expected in Florida here. Okay. Idaho, we just want some rain. That is true, Anon, what she's saying. Probate can be passed down. It can also be contested. That's what's happened in my son's case. His stepmother. Oh, yeah. That's true. I do know that in Anon. And also, do you know that an adopted child has more rights almost than a biological? So say a bio parent wills to his bio kids, doesn't even name the adopted child. So the adopted child can contest the will and hold it up in court for a long time. So I know what Anon is talking about. She's right. But I still don't think that's fair to your son, Anon. Not at all. A will should stand, I think. Legal guardianship, Alberta. Here in Indiana. I mean, I could tell you of a case right now. I just know for a fact. I'm not going to publicly. Marissa didn't know what a wombat was. Wombat says, come on, ladies. There's plenty of me to go around. So, really, Amy? Well, I'm inviting myself to go with you. No, I'm just joking. Okay, let's see. Anon says, you are right. We learned a lot about probate. He's an adult now. No ashes of his father. Oh, goodness. That's terrible. I am so sorry, Anon. Well, hello, Darlene. Thank you for coming. I know, that was funny, wasn't it, Amy? So, any more questions, guys? Don't know that we'll have the answers, but you can give it a shot. Yep, Sharon's a Floridian too. Well, thank you, Darlene, for coming. So, yeah, I want to, and I know Watcher does, concentrate on cases that do not get any attention and that need to. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I know that's what Watcher's going to start doing, and so I don't know. You might see us together. You might see us apart, because I know she has her own channel. I don't know when she's going to start it, but I know she's working on that.
When she can figure out the technology.
Huh? Yeah, yeah. Oh, Ronnie, Angie. You can call me Angie. You can call me Ange. Most people call me Ange. Or you can call me Truth, or you can call me TNJ, or you can just call me whatever you want. Long as it's nice. Oh, hey, Tanya. How are you doing, lady?
Alberta, where did you read that at?
That's
I'd like to
right.
see that.
Family first, Tanya. Always family first. What did Alberta say? I just read someone saw a girl a year after and took a picture. Mom thought it may be Chloe. Oh, where did I see that? Thank you, Alberta. Something else I forgot. I thought I read that too. Oh, yes, yes. If you guys have not seen the portrait of Amy, you need to. It's beautiful. I meant to share that in my group too. I will do that as soon as I get off of here. It is beautiful. Yeah, though, Tanya, you're right. Family first, always. Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah, that's probably where I saw it. Well, that's good, Tanya. Don't ever apologize for taking family time. You know, I don't. My family time's on the weekends. You know, I hardly see my husband through the week. And so on the weekends, that's my time with him. And then, of course, my grandbabies. And, you know, now if NCOG's on or, you know, then I will somehow weasel my way in. Well, you're just going to have some fun down there, aren't you, Amy? Maybe I will make you take me. No, I'm joking again. So, any more questions, guys, before we sign off? Absolutely, Tanya. Absolutely. Ah, well, you absolutely enjoy yourself and make sure you be safe. Oh, Annie, you're funny. Did you hold on. Did I miss some of your comment up here? Did you ever answer what year this happened? I might have missed it. 2012, Annie. And then down here I saw and. That was funny. I wasn't done with that comment. Get back here. Good night, love. Lots of love. Thank you for coming, honey. Sleep well. Be safe. Yes, it happened in 2012. Okay, then. I think we're going to sign off. I want to thank you all for coming. Again, I will be, Amy's going to be on at 7. I have Bible study, and then I'm going to be on at 9 on Monday. And I hope you all will come. It's a very heartbreaking case, and I will have a guest who is going to be sharing the story. And it does need so much attention. So much attention. So I hope you all will be here. And then I'll be on later on next week as well. Well, thank you guys for coming again. Means so much. Watcher, thank you so much for bringing this case to my attention and for coming on again.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing it.
So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful night and a wonderful day tomorrow. And as usual, I love you and God bless.
Love you
Take
guys.
care. And yes, thank you, Anon. My mods always do a wonderful job, and thank you for being here every time I go live. All right, guys. Have a great night. Good night, everyone.